Hi, everyone. It's Heather Lee Cameron again. I'd like to talk today about how joy is a choice. We can be joyful under any circumstances. Even if times are really, really tough, we can choose joy. We can choose to handle tough situations with joy and a positive attitude. We don't have to let a difficult situation turn us into difficult people. And with that said, I'd like to show you something. This scar around my neck. Do you see it? It's a scar that I got after losing my thyroid to a tumor I had in 2024. Back in March 2024, I found a lump in my neck. And it was a hard lump and it wasn't going away. And the GP thought it might be cancer. And it was the same year as I was grieving and celebrating the 10-year anniversary of my father's death from cancer. It was sad because he was my father, but it was also a celebration because he was an abusive father. And one of the things I had told myself when my father was sick back in 2014 was that if I ever got cancer of my own, I would not act the way he did when he was sick. Because when he was sick, he literally was abusive. He turned to alcohol and drugs for pain relief, and he behaved much the way he did in life. Using abuse to cope, using pain and painkillers and alcohol to cope. And it wasn't a very pleasant situation. And I told God that if I ever faced the same situation, I would not act the same way. And then 10 years later, in March 2024, I got a lump in my neck. And then I realized, I should not have tested God, because the general practitioner said, we think this is cancerous, so we're going to schedule you with a specialist. You're going to have to undergo a biopsy. And you're going to have to do all these things so we can check to see whether or not it's cancer. And so 2024 was a bit of a hell on earth for me, but I didn't want to have a hellish attitude just because I was living in my own valley of shadows. And, we don't have to be a nightmare just because we're living in a nightmare. We can be thankful for our circumstances. And I was scared, but I was thankful that I could prove that I wasn't going to be like my father in my own personal valley of shadows. I stayed close to the Lord throughout the entire time I was waiting to see whether or not I had cancer. It was a tiring experience, going through all the blood work, going through all the biopsy, going through the surgery, going through the mental anguish of waiting to see what was going on. But I never stopped praying. I was always joyful. And, I was thankful that God gave me an experience He knew I could handle. And He gave me the strength that I might be able to meet the serious issue. And He truly allowed me to be tested so I could prove that I would do what I said I would do. Like, I knew better than to say I would do things a certain way. Like, we shouldn't say something unless we're willing to prove ourselves. because I was definitely tested and tried that year. But thankfully, from March to like October, I was very much worried that I might have cancer and I would go through a lot more grief. But thankfully, it wasn't cancer, but it was a long, several months. It was a lot of worry. It was a lot of strife. It was truly a long walk in a deep, heavy, emotional valley of shadows. And it was so heavy for everybody. But nobody really wanted to talk about it. But I had to talk about it. I had to live it. I had to experience it. But nobody really wanted to talk about it. But I truly had to at least talk about it with God. And I had to just remind myself that even though I was going through a struggle, I didn't have to show it. I could be cheerful. I could be good. I could be kind. We don't have to be angry just because things might be dark in our lives. We don't have to be broken just because things might feel broken. We don't have to be mean just because things might be dark. We are in control of our thoughts, even if we aren't in control of our situation. We might not be in control of what happens to us in life. I wasn't in control of finding that lump. It just appeared out of nowhere. But I was in control of what I did about it. I went to the doctor. I went to every appointment that was put in front of me. I prayed. I communed with God. I did all that I needed to in order to address the situation that was before me. And I promised God that I would not turn into my father. I sat and I also remembered what he was like when he was dealing with his health problem, the health problem that ultimately took his life. And I was mindful of the fact that anger and the fact that he let his pain control him only made the situation worse. And I didn't want my pain to control me. I did not want my anxiety to control me. So I was calm about it. I was controlled about it. I remember that the grace of God was with me, and that even if things were to go bad, I would not be alone in my walk through the valley of shadows. I would truly have the Lord to be with me. He would carry me across the sand when I had no strength. He would lift me when I could not lift myself. And he would be with me. No matter if I felt like I needed him or not. He would truly care, even if people didn't. It's truly extraordinary to be a caregiver. It was truly an extraordinary experience to be a caregiver to my father and just watch him deteriorate faster because of the choices that he made. It truly was extraordinary to watch myself become a different person because of watching him make choices that destroyed him faster than the cancer destroyed him. Because he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer of the adrenal gland near the kidney in July of 2014. And then he died at the end of October 2014. And nothing could be done, but he accelerated his process of dying simply because he turned to alcohol and drugs and cursing God and giving up and being abusive, instead of making the most of his time and really just turning to spirituality. I mean, I don't blame him. Cancer sucks. But, I mean, there's truly other things he could have done to make the most of the time that he had. I mean, anger doesn't solve anything. Hate doesn't solve anything. And addictive substances only create more pain. They only create more sorrow. And they only leave scars. Not only for the one who uses them, but for those who are impacted by the bad behavior that is triggered by the use of them. And addiction hurts everybody in the world. And it's quite sad. And we need to have compassion on those who struggle with addiction. We really do. Because it's a sickness. It's used to combat sicknesses that people feel are so insurmountable that they can't face the sickness, but it can also create pain and leave scars. And, you know, it's been a very long time since my father passed, but the impact that his addiction and his cancer had on my family and I, it really just left such an impact on me and my family. And it really had an impact on how I approached my own Valley of Shadows. I am very grateful that I did not have to experience cancer, but it was close enough that it made me mindful of how to behave when faced with that situation. God made me have like a moment like Abraham and Isaac. God made me go up the mountain and led me straight to the edge and then said, you've basically come to the edge in faith that you are meant to learn something here and have such a crazy experience, but I'm not going to give this to you because you've been through enough. And I have the utmost respect and love for people who actually go through cancer, because it is a god-awful illness, and people who endure it and other tough illnesses, they're great fighters. And I myself am not illness free. I've got neurodiverse conditions. I've got endometriosis. And I've got bits and bits of depression here and there. I'm not going to lie about that. And maybe I've got a little bit of PTSD. I don't know. But those who endure difficult conditions are basically heroes. And this is why we need each other, because such illnesses are so tough. Such illnesses cannot be borne alone. Such illnesses are family illnesses, such illnesses are community illnesses. And family doesn't mean blood. Family can also mean community. Whatever community you can find, you should find it. Because everybody is a gift, and no gift is meant to just stand on its own. Every gift will find the tree under which it belongs. Like, yes, we are high functioning to a degree, all of us. But we will find the place where we function the best, every single one of us. We are too unique and too beautiful to just be left forgotten and alone. We are too worthy. Our spirits are too unique and beautiful to be just left on our own and forgotten. If we don't have our community right now, we will find it. We have a right to find it. Because life is beautiful. Life is worth enjoying, and we have a right to enjoy life. And we have a right to avoid being alone. We are gifts. Even with all of our struggles, we are gifts. We are worthy of love. So we should always go through life acting as if we are worthy of love. And we should stop worrying and thinking that we are not worthy of love. Our community, the place where we fit, the people we fit with, they will come our way when we least expect it. Or opportunities will come our way to find where we fit. And I mean, if we reject them, that's on us. But I hope we accept them. Because life is so very short. And we should have faith in ourselves to embrace the joy that is meant for us and enjoy the journey that our life is. Even despite all the challenges that we may face, even the scars that may come upon us because of our experiences, we still have a right to enjoy life. Like, despite the fact that I have challenges, despite the fact that I have scars, I am doing my best to enjoy life. I am doing my best to find reasons to smile each and every day. And we cannot and should not be afraid to make space for ourselves wherever we can and know that we are welcome in this world and know that we have the responsibility and the right to make a good impact wherever we go. We cannot be ashamed or afraid to make an impact wherever we go and use our challenges, use our scars, and use our faith for good. Think about that. Love you all.